I look upon my childhood with fondness. I wouldn't want to relive it, but I am who I am because of it.
You know, the one thing about growing up in those kind of circumstances, we didn't think we were poor, you know. But when you look back, we were at poverty level. We were working for other people, and they had hired my father. My mother would take care of the cooking and things like that for the hired men and people. But at that point, Dad said they hadn't hired me. So now I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to milk cows or any of that stuff.
I grew up on a farm. It was a grain farm, basically. We had a variety of animals, cattle, of course, milked a lot of cows by hand. You worked from before sunup to long after sundown, and there never seemed to be an end of it. We looked forward to school. School for us was a vacation.
We were in a one-room school. The little one sat in the front, and we didn't have indoor plumbing. We had outhouses, and it was just a typical farm school, you know. They had a rule, the older children in school were supposed to speak English out on the playground. Everybody I knew was German, and we all talked German, and we just sat in the front row, you know, in school, and the older kids were behind us, and they all were being taught in English, so we kind of learned it.
I had an advantage. I was the fourth child, and so I had older brothers and sisters who were already in country school, and my mother was very adamant about education.
I went to 13 schools in 12 years, back in the days when people didn't travel around very much. It was a big deal to go to the next county. And, you know, I did grades 1, 2, and 3 in my very comfortable school. I went to Detroit. I started the first month in a big city school with all kinds of people I had never had any connection with in my life. I was afraid of them. I didn't know how to jump rope. I mean, we chased gophers. And came back, and then I lived in town for 2 years. So now I was a town child and running around the streets with the town kids and fighting the farm kids on Saturday night.
I graduated from Jackson No. 1 Happy Land School, all 8th grades.
There was no question I went to grade school. When it came time for high school, I had to fight because my dad, he didn't think I needed high school. Girls just got married anyhow.
My father would have had us conclude our education at the end of country school. He felt by going to town school, we'd just pick up smart aleck ideas.
I just knew I wanted to go to school, and I fought for it. I remember standing out in the cow barn while he was milking, arguing with him. And they finally said, well, you can go 1 year. I got my foot in the door. Never took it back out. I graduated.
My mother was very adamant about education. She felt that the world was changing, and in many ways she was a very foresighted woman. And she said all of the children must have an education, high school education. Dad's role was different. He had to providing for a family of 8, and with the Depression and losing his wife's farm, we became renters then, and it wasn't until after World War II, when my brothers came back from the Second World War, that we finally were able to repurchase a farm.
What kept me in school was that I wanted to work in an office. I had seen movies with these girls that worked in offices, and I thought, boy, that's what I want.
One of the reasons I think I eventually went into teaching was because of my 4th and 5th grade teacher. LaViolet Druitt was my 4th grade teacher. She liked us. She not only looked good, she smelled good to us farm kids. The sad part of it was Miss LaViolet decided to get married after the first year, but before she left, she promised that we would get an equally good teacher, and believe it or not, her sister, LaVon Druitt, became our 5th grade teacher, and she was just as good as LaViolet. country school for us was escape from the hard work of the farm, the milking, the morning milking, the mucking of the barns, the hay in the winter months, and all of the other summer activities of shocking grains, stacking hay. Those were work days, and I was not a farmer. Happiest day of my life was when I finally got the scholarship to leave the farm.
Life is what it is when it's going on around you, and you just accept it as a child.
It was survival, it was existence, it was not luxurious, and yet we made the best of it.
Funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. And by the members of Prairie Public.